Good evening, everyone. This is Manisha from Friedman and Gopalan Solicitors. I'm a solicitor here, and here I have with me Penny Smith, who is a paralegal working here. We recently did receive an inquiry where our client's mother got bitten by a dog, and she was really concerned as to what her rights are and what is it that she can really be doing. So we thought the best thing to sort of discuss today would be to give as dog owners what you should be careful about, and if you're bitten by a dog, what your rights are. So to start off with, I'll tell you, if you're bitten by a dog, obviously it's a very traumatic experience, and it'll take you a while to get over it. The first thing we recommend is getting medical intervention as soon as possible, and secondly, report the incident to the police station, to your local area police station as well. Now, what are the liabilities of a dog owner if your dog has bitten someone? What is your liability? There is both civil and criminal liability. And with regards to civil liability, you would be sort of responsible to pay for injuries and any damages that's caused to this person because of your dog. Now, when is it that you're not liable? Is it that, okay, I just walk into your property and your dog bites me? Are you still liable for that? No, you're not. You're only liable if your dog is obviously without a leash, taken for a walk, and by it just by chance bites someone who's walking across the road as well. So then you're liable. But if there's a person who trespasses into your property, gets into your property, and then your dog bites, you're definitely not liable there for any
But
kind of injuries.
if the person is there legally, so if they're your guest or it's a business and you've invited them in, you will still be liable. So if it's your property and the person has trespassed, as you say, no liability there. But in most other situations, you will have a responsibility.
So we definitely recommend, if you're having guests over and if your dog's not properly trained, most likely to have the dog on a leash, and ensure that guests are not frightened, just so that you are sort of not held responsible for any kind of injury that's being caused to any person out there. Now, there's also criminal liability that you could be liable for as a dog owner if your dog sort of bites someone, and Penny would sort of take us through that.
Yeah. And also to add on to the civil liability, we discussed the liability for if a dog attacks a human.
Yep.
There's also special provisions for if a dog attacks, a non-human. So, for example, another dog or another pet or some sort of other animal. So there's pretty broad-ranging liability there, and they do take it quite seriously in the criminal sphere as well. So the maximum. There is a particular provision in the Crimes Act where the maximum penalty is going to be 10 years if you cause your dog to cause harm. So that's more of, an intentional or reckless act that you've done to cause your dog to cause harm to someone else. So you could be facing imprisonment or fines. And then there's also sections in relation to dogs that have been declared dangerous or menacing. So that's a particular declaration that's been made by the council or the court that this dog is particularly dangerous or menacing, and in that case there are a whole bunch of special requirements on you as the dog owner. The dog has to be desexed. If you take them out of the enclosure, they must wear a muzzle. You must register them. There are all these requirements. You must display a sign that says dangerous dog. Create an enclosure that meets the requirements of sort of robustness. That means that the dog won't escape, all these things. And if you fail to meet one of these conditions and you own a dangerous or menacing dog, there'll also be criminal liability on you there.
Okay, that sounds quite scary actually. So it's better that you as a dog owner ensure that you've taken all the precautions and necessary training required for the dog, so that you're not held liable for something that your dog has sort of caused. Now, what happens to the dog, Penny? I did discuss about the civil liability, how you'd sort of be liable for any damage that's caused to the injured person. But what happens to the dog per se? What happens?
So the first step, in the interest of the health of the victim, the dog will be quarantined for some time, usually about a week, to see if they have rabies or any cause to think that the person might have obtained tetanus or something like that. So the dog is kept under supervision for 5 days. And then that also allows the council an opportunity to assess if the dog will be declared dangerous or menacing, as I was discussing.
Okay.
So that's also an assessment period. And then if the council decides that they might make that declaration, they'll send a notice to the owners, a notice of intention to make that declaration, and the owners have a chance to object.
Okay.
And then that declaration might be made, and the owners have a chance to appeal in the local court, of course. And then, as many dog owners might fear, there's also the option to seize the dog and to destroy the dog if the council thinks that that's necessary. Of course, that procedure also comes with opportunities to object, obtain evidence, and in that sort of situation, if you're risking that consequence, we would definitely recommend to get legal advice.
Yeah. So if you have any queries with regards to anything in regards to, if you want to sort of check as to, what your rights are, that there's been a declaration, intention to make a declaration by the council, what are your rights there, how do you protect your dog, how do you ensure this doesn't happen, please don't hesitate to give us a call on 028917 8700, or you can send us your queries via an email on legalclerk@freedmangopalan.com.au. Now, we also did think, apart from talking about dog bites and being bitten by a dog and what your rights are as an owner and what your rights are if you're bitten, can if I have a neighbor who has a dog and the dog keeps barking continuously for hours, Penny, do I have a recourse there? Can I do anything about it? Can I just go? All I have is just to go and tell them, oh, can you please make sure your dog's fine, there's something wrong, can you ensure that your dog doesn't shut, like what is my right here, what can I do?
So you mentioned the first thing that we would recommend, which would be talking to the person, discussing it with them. So it's always best to try that first, and also to try and go to a community justice centre, which is where you can be provided with the opportunity of mediation. So you can mediate a solution that will be good for both parties. There's also approaching the local council. So you can apply for a nuisance order or a prevention notice to be issued, and in that you would need to provide some evidence, so perhaps a diary that you've kept of the times that the dog's barking, consultations with other neighbours, just to have that evidence.
Yeah.
And then the council will investigate, and if they find that the dog doesn't meet that threshold of being a nuisance, they'll issue this notice, which will set out specific things that the owner needs to do and ensure happens in order to comply. And if the owner doesn't comply, there's a fine there.
Can they seize the dog and destroy the dog because of this nuisance cost, Penny?
Look, I'm not sure, Manisha. The council does have a lot of power in that area. The specific powers to seize dogs are generally for danger, for menace and that sort of harm.
Yeah.
But the council does have some far-ranging powers in that area, so that they can impose lots of conditions.
Yeah. So I think this is here us signing off for this session. So we do understand that how, as a dog owner, you consider your dog as a part of the family, and you are really close and emotionally attached to your dog as well. We understand that, but always have ensuring that they are trained prior to sort of taking them for walks, and always ensuring that they are on a leash while going for a walk as well. Ensure that the dog is left without a leash only where it's a gated, your property is sort of gated, and there's no risk of the dog just running out and biting someone, just so that you don't have to incur the whole stress and worry of having to lose your dog, or to put someone through the risk of being injured as well. We hope this session was useful, and if you have any queries, please don't hesitate to give us a call on 0289178700. That's us signing off for this session. So see you, take care, and have a good weekend, guys.
Have a good weekend.